Hello, I'm back. It is Wednesday, the 10th. 10th? 10th. It is 10:44 p.m. and I know it's kind of late for me to do a video, but I was going to do it earlier, but I got interested in this thing on Netflix called the 80's. And it was all these different, like, 45-minute videos about stuff that happened in the 80's. You know, like the type of movies or movies and TV in the 80's, the news, like the major news stories of the 80's. And then I left off on the technology one, but I had to watch my soap opera. So, like the technological advances made in the 80's and how they've kind of affected the rest of since the 80's anyway. It's interesting to me because I grew up in the 80's. I mean, I turned 10 in 1980, so my whole the rest of my childhood and my teenage years I spent in 1980. So I remember a lot of this stuff. I remember when Columbia went up. I remember when Challenger blew up. I remember when, you know, when all this computer stuff started happening and the cell phones and the PCs and all of that. And I remember all the TV shows that they talked about. I totally remember all of those. So it's kind of like a trip down memory lane for me. It was fun. But that's why I was recording my video so late, because I was doing all of that. So, what I ate Wednesday and Fit by Fall, I guess, kind of put together, because I did run 4 miles today. And I ran 4 miles and I think I walked about half a mile, but because I decided I wasn't going to run 4 miles, and then I just walked the rest. I like to do a cool down walk if I can, so I did that. And then, let's see, what did I have for breakfast? I did have Burger King for breakfast, something my husband and I do every Wednesday, so. And then for lunch, I don't really have lunch because I went running and I got back at like 2 o'clock, so I don't really have lunch. I had like a granola bar and a glass of milk for lunch. And for dinner, I made sausage, summer sausage I mixed it with quinoa and brown rice and some vegetables, and that was pretty good. And then but I had that kind of early, and well, not early, but it didn't. I don't know, I was still kind of hungry, so I had a bowl of cereal, so I shouldn't have had. But I did run the 4 miles, so that's good. And you know, I didn't work today, obviously. My sister calls me and says, "Can you be a really huge favor? Can you pick up Audrey for me?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure, no problem." But then it turned out I didn't have to, so I would have, but it turned out I didn't have to. Anyway, I was watching that. Like I said, I was watching that 80's thing. That was pretty neat. It's on Netflix if anyone wants to watch it. That was pretty neat. Excuse me, sorry. I'm tired all of a sudden. Well, that's not all of a sudden. I'm just tired. That was a good run. I did stop a few times. You know, I always sometimes I'll run the full time without stopping, but where I run and going up into where I do run at, there's a couple of hills, and I don't do really well on hills. I mean, I can run up a hill, but when I get to the top of it, I should generally need to stop for about 30 seconds, and you know, I used to run hills more often, but I don't know, I need to get back into that. It's really good exercise. I need to start doing some workouts, not just running, and I gotta start doing that. And I can think of a million excuses in the world, but the truth is, if I just got my butt up a little earlier in the morning, I could do it, you know. And my husband, he's going to be working graveyard, so any workouts I do in the morning are going to have to be at home because, such a pain in the ass. Oh, how would I do running when he does that? I guess he took a bunch of pictures and wanted me to put them on my video, but when I went to record my video, I didn't have any room, so I had to delete her pictures. So, sorry, Lacey. Couldn't do it. Maybe next time, just a couple. She was recording herself make her lunch, but she's got so much crap on her own phone that nothing works. And, anyway. So, that didn't work out for her so well. I keep playing with my hair. It's just a nervous habit, I guess. It's really annoying, though. It even annoys me. But yeah, I just was watching that on Netflix. Like I said, that was interesting. It's kind of, like I said, that's my history. I grew up in the 80's. I was a young adult in the 90's and hit my 30's in the year 2000. So, obviously I'm in my 47 now, but, I was born it's funny because I was born in the 70's. I was a child in the 70's. I was, kind of preteen to teenager to young adult between 80 and 90. I turned 20 in 1990. And then from the 90's to the 2000s, I was, I guess, a young adult. Then when I hit 30, which was in 2000, that was interesting when you turn 30. I think something changes in you when you turn 30. I don't know, it's weird. And we turned 40, it's like, oof. But it's just interesting to me anyway, because I was born in a decade. I was born in like 70. So I get the whole decade per decade. But for someone who's born like my sister in 76 or my husband in 74, they're like mid-decade. I don't know. It's weird. It's just me, I guess. But I just found it was really interesting to see how, you know, I mean, I was remembering, the funny thing was President Reagan was in East Germany, or was in Germany, like, where the wall was, and he was said, Mr. Gorbachev, please tear down this wall. And every time I hear him say that, I think to myself, he was in Germany, and Gorbachev was the Russian premier, president, whatever he was. That's what he was. He was the leader of the Soviet Union. Not of Germany. And the guy on the TV, the guy who was one of President Reagan's advisors at the time, said, and he said recently, he said, yeah, he did that all by himself. None of his writers wrote that for him. He did that all by himself. We were not responsible for him saying that. That's hilarious. Mr. Gorbachev, please tear down this wall, when he was in Germany. I thought that was funny. But I've always heard him say that, you know, throughout history, or throughout the 80s and 90s, whatever, whenever we talk about him. That's one of the most famous things he ever said. And he said it completely wrong because, like I said, Gorbachev was not the leader of Germany, either side of Germany. But anyway, it was just interesting. And then they talked about Steve Jobs, and in the next one they did the... Anyway, just watch it. If you're interested in it, just watch it. Dynasty reboot officially coming to CW. Really? Dynasty? They talked about that too. There's going to be a Dirty Dancing TV series on. Really? No, come on, leave it alone. It was a good movie. Leave the movie alone. I don't know why they got to do that. I don't know if it's a TV series or miniseries or a movie remake. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's bound to be stupid, I'm sure. But maybe not. Maybe I'll give it a chance and see. I don't know. It's just, those things kind of annoy me. Like, it was a really good movie. Just leave it alone. I mean, Patrick Swayze was really good, and he's gone, so just leave it alone. Anyway, and they're making a Bad Boys 3 with all the original cast members, so that might be interesting. I like the Bad Boys movies, but I like Will Smith too, so, you know. I have kind of a headache right now too. I don't know what my problem is. Probably the weather. Keeps going back and forth. Sorry, the TV's catching my eye. I gotta go to bed. It's late. It's 7 minutes of me just rambling on about the 80s and what I ate. I was going to this video, what I ate Wednesday and fit by fall, but I should just call it the 1980s, but I'm not going to do that. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. I will see you all later. I hope everyone has a good rest of their night and a good rest of their week, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Oh, forgot. If you like my videos, click like and subscribe. If you don't like my videos, well, you know, to each their own. Bye-bye.